Hey everybody, it's Party Elite. Welcome back to another episode of our Planet Zoo franchise mode Let's Play. We're gonna dive right back into Elite Zoo South. Every single time I sit down to record an episode of Elite Zoo South, I have to remind myself that I have to say the word South. I can't believe we are so many episodes in, and it is still such a habit for me to say North that I have to actively think about. Anyway, a little ramble aside, folks. It's an exciting episode ahead of us because we are finally, after a very, very long wait, adding a new animal. We've been talking about this for a while. It's been sort of in the works for a while. It's been the plan for a while. I'm very glad that we spent the time that we spent doing all of those beauty passes. I feel like it's really started tying the zoo together, really started bringing a lot of those, half-finished sections and areas together, and it started to add volume to the zoo, I guess is the way to put it. It's like a lot of the, spaces between spaces have started to become spaces themselves. I don't mean to sound, weirdly philosophical or deep or anything like that, but hopefully I'm sort of clearly communicating what I'm getting at. But there was a time, only a handful of episodes ago where it felt like you were traveling through a whole lot of nothing to get to the next something. And I feel like we finally kind of dealt with that a fair bit. Now, there is still a fair bit of that going on here and there. I mean, there are a couple of spots that still need filling in. There are a couple of areas. I mean, to be fair, I should probably ignore this section as a part of this conversation as a whole because work here hasn't been done at all yet. And I'm really looking forward to this space, actually. I've got some big plans for the animals, for the stories, as far as the animals that get or that are going to get added over here are concerned. I've got some plans for, like, a really cool, spot to eat and stuff like that. Like, I'm really excited for this area, but we have to ignore it for this conversation. My point is more along the lines of, all these, little gaps and stuff that we filled out, things that looked rather hollow or shallow, if you will. They've been refined and cleaned up, and they actually, here, literally, this was a giant empty space, and there's still a little bit of space that needs filling out. But overall, the difference it makes to just have these trees in the area and to have this layering effect and stuff, I feel like we've come a long way thanks to those beauty passes. But as I was saying, beauty pass after beauty pass after beauty pass, it is time for us to shift gears a little bit and add a new animal. That's going to be the focus of today. I think what we're going to do is what we always do, as of late at least, when we add a new animal. Take a look at its Zoopedia article, if you will, entry, I suppose, and then get the we'll get into a time lapse, hopefully keeping into consideration or taking into consideration everything we've learned from the Zoopedia entry, and then afterwards we'll get the animals in and see how they enjoy the space, hopefully enjoy the space. And I'm pretty sure the thumbnail or the title or something gave away which animal we're going to be adding today. Maybe I also gave it away over the last 3 or 4 episodes, but if you guessed dingoes, well then, ding, 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 you have guessed correctly. So, folks, let's not waste any time. Over to Zoopedia, and let's take a look at the dingo. Now, as I mentioned previously, I had received some suggestions as to inspirations from a visual or cultural perspective, and then I got some contradictory advice. I don't want to call it contradictory. Calling something contradictory often makes it sound negative, and that's not what I'm getting at. I mean, I got some... I was informed. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. I was informed of some issues that might come up with the initial idea, so it has since evolved. I did a lot of research, a lot of interesting stuff I've learned about the dingoes that we'll get into when we get into the time lapse, but for now, let's go ahead and take a look at their entry over here. So the dingo, the Canis lupus dingo, they are vulnerable. The population in wild is unknown. The dingo, or Canis lupus dingo, is a large species of canid that lives throughout Australia. With sandy-colored fur, a white underside, pointed ears, and a long, blunt snout, the dingo is skinny in appearance, averaging between 52 and 60 centimeters in height, and measuring 1.2 to 1.5 meters long. Wow, I completely just, decided to add a random number in there for no good reason. As I was finishing that sentence, I was still distracted by the fact that they spelled color like this. I can't help myself. I have to call it out every single time. It's so weird. It throws me off because they're a UK-based company. If they were an American company, I'd get it, but they're a UK-based company. We do it as well all the time in Canada. If we ever, in Canada, we spell the UK style, but if we're ever making a product that also needs to be sold across the border, we go for the American spelling as well. So I assume maybe it's the same in this world as well. But anyway, sorry. They weigh between 14 and 19 kilograms, with males being slightly larger than females. They're opportunistic predators, but also scavengers, resulting in a varied diet of mammals, birds, reptiles, carrion, fruit, and vegetables. That was a sudden shift from like mammals, birds, reptiles, and fruits and vegetables. That's kind of funny. Dingoes are listed as vulnerable, mainly due to the fact that their gene pool is becoming diluted through interbreeding with domestic dogs. Yeah, I read up a lot about that actually. They're also treated as pests throughout much of Australia and are likely to be killed by farmers protecting their livestock. As a result, the species is protected in national parks and nature reserves, but otherwise are often subject to control measures by humans. It's interesting that these control measures go so far as to make the entire species vulnerable. Now, I guess actually, to be fair, it's not just the control measures; it's also the dilution of the gene pool. Like, I'm curious. I read up a lot about this actually, and I'm very curious to. I wonder, if we're going to see the species not like go extinct as a result of hunting or habitat issues or things like that, but instead of that, if we're going to see them go extinct, so to speak, because of the interbreeding and eventually they no longer exist as a unique thing. I'd be curious. I mean, hopefully it doesn't come to that, but that's also kind of nature at work, I suppose. A few steps removed, obviously, but it's not like it's such a fuzzy conversation when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like if it's natural for them to interbreed and that interbreeding results in one species quote unquote dying off, is that a problem in the traditional sense? It's not the same as them being hunted to extinction or them being driven off their natural habitats and that causing disruption and ultimately extinction. It's more of a natural process, I guess. I don't know. It's an interesting. I'd love to know what you think about that actually. Because I understand these guys are vulnerable because of the interbreeding. What's the result of that interbreeding? Is it more of your regular domestic dog? And then is that a problem per se? I don't know. It's a weird one. Sorry. Over to the natural habitat, of course, it is basically the entirety of the continent over here. There's just a couple of gaps. I'm curious. I need to compare this to like a geographical map of Australia and see what the difference is here. So that like very specific regions are not being inhabited by these animals. Their biomes are desert and grassland, which means we're not going to be seeing a lot of, vegetation and stuff like that. So we're going to be working with a lot of rocks and whatnot. Grade 2 is all we need. Okay, that's not too bad. And I guess climbing restrictions are not something to be concerned about. I've seen dogs climb out of, I've seen dogs and foxes and wolves and whatnot climb out of fenced areas, so I don't know. Species data. Group size, excluding juveniles, is 2 to 12, okay. Up to 12 males, up to 12 females. Male or female bachelor group sizes are 2 to 12 as well. Good stuff. They have an alpha male, alpha female dominance status. Mating system is monogamous. The relation with humans is confident, but guests cannot enter the habitat. Gee, I wonder why. Can you imagine just being able to pet a bunch of, dingo puppies? I saw so many images, by the way, of dingo puppies. I guess they're called puppies, pups, or whatnot. And they are adorable. They're exactly as adorable as you would expect them to be. They're amazing. Anyway, 22.4 inches tall at the shoulder, both male and female. Life expectancy is 18 years across the board. Weight is 37.4 pounds for males and 33 pounds for females. Age of sexual maturity is at 3 years. Sterility is at death. Number of offspring per mating event is 1 to 5. Gestation or incubation for 2 months. Interbirth for 12 months. And reproduction in captivity is very easy. All right, that's promising. I imagine this will be very much like the Timberwolves at Elite Zoo North, for example, where we'll see the same struggles and the same benefits as well, where I'm going to get too attached to the alphas to send them off. And they'll have a bunch of, pups, and they'll all grow old, and then I'll have to, eventually get over myself and send out all the males and bring in a new male so it can find its alpha female and they can start reproducing. It's going to be the same cycle because I can't help but get attached to doggos. Anyway, social needs. Dingoes are social animals that usually live in family packs, although may also live alone or in groups of 2 or 3 unrelated individuals. An average pack consists of an alpha male and alpha female, their juvenile offspring, and a litter of pups that are less than a year old. It's a couple of missing words and letters here. So I guess, yeah, pups, puppies, puppers, whichever, use your preferred term there. Reproduction. In a dingo pack, only the alpha male and alpha female have young, and the pair are monogamously bonded and mate for life. Their pups stay with them until they reach sexual maturity. But, okay. Solitary dingoes that have just left their family pack will look to meet another lone dingo of the opposite sex before establishing a territory together. If they find a partner, they mate during the breeding season and reproduce a litter of pups once a year, remaining together for life. So hang on a second, though. It's saying the group size is 2 to 12, right? Which would be, you've got your alpha male and female, your juvenile offspring, and oh, you know what? I'm guessing when it says juvenile offspring, it means all the non-alpha males and females, or what's happening here is that this is how they actually behave, and this is how the game is translating it to make them interesting and manageable in the actual game itself. Because what I'm understanding from this is that they basically, no, it says it right here for reproduction. Pups stay with them until they reach sexual maturity. So hypothetically, when they become 3 years old, they should all be leaving. But in the game, 3 years is when they go from being juvenile to being adult. And juveniles aren't counted for this number, so adults can be 2 to 12. So I'm thinking, yeah, it's like this is how they actually work, and this is just the gamified version of it to make it more interesting to manage and more fun to look at the enclosures and stuff like that. Or there's like the rare case where this is normal. But anyway, yeah, alpha male, alpha female scenario. Like I said, it's going to be the same struggles that we faced with Elite Zoo North's Timberwolves, especially because they were like the first animal we added, and again, can't help but get attached. So fair enough. Of course, you know, the food situation. Ooh, this is nice. Some habitat enrichment to unlock. That's nice. I was getting a little, I was a little saddened that we weren't seeing enrichment items to unlock with some of the DLC animals. So it is nice to see at least a couple over here that we'll have to research. And of course, their food needs to be researched as well. Interspecies enrichment, there is none. I mean, I could put some, I imagine some dogs in here, but no. And world records, obviously irrelevant to us right now. We'll see if we can ever break any of those. You know, does the game ever tell you if you've beat a world record? Because I've not seen it, and I'd like to know if any of my animals have ever, you know, managed to break a record. Anyway, so the dingoes. I mean, again, the important thing to remember is the land requirement. No like swimming needed or anything like that. But of course, I'm going to try and get them a natural source of drinking water, and the desert and grassland thing. That's important to remember. I'm going to go ahead and actually change the time right now. Over to save item as blueprint. By the way, this is how you can like transport, like travel through time, so to speak. Avert your eyes as the brightness might blind you. But yeah, you go to create a blueprint, and then you can set the time. Basically, you're setting the time to take the screenshot for the thumbnail. But you can just set the time, close this, and then I have had folks ask a couple times. So hopefully that makes it clear, and that just, you know, the lighting is so much better to allow us to work. One thing I want to do actually before I dive into this time lapse is very quickly, because I know I will forget, and I just remembered because I saw this. On the topic of seeing this, what are the chances that I missed 2 baby koala births last session? Honestly, what are the chances? I mean, apparently pretty high. I'm just I can't even. I don't get it. I don't get it. But it's fine. We'll have more koala babies. I like the animation. I understand it's horrifying because it's not anatomically correct, apparently. But it still looks really cute when they like look up and down at each other. I mean, I like seeing it. But yeah, dang. Honestly. Anyway, so a couple things to outline, by the way, as we get into this is I do have to be very wary of the fact that guests need to be able to see our African wild dogs that will be over here as well. And of course, they'll need to be able to see the hyenas that I imagine will be up over here. And this space we'll probably like decorate with something else just to cover up our, you know, little corkscrew that goes down into the employees only area. But yeah, I think the plan was that we'd have another path go up this way, and we'd have like a lookout point up over here, allowing you to see the wild dogs. I might actually dedicate a bit more room I might dedicate a bit more room to the dingoes than I have outlined over here, because what I'm thinking is if I get, what was this, sand? Was it? Yeah, it was sand. What I'm thinking is if I go a little bit further out over here, right, let's say, I might be able to do like an underground viewing point. Up over here, if the hyenas are up over here, what I could do is I could spread the hyenas up high and down low. Now, I kind of like the up high being the hyenas. I wonder if I can make sort of cave viewing points for all these. I think I called it underground viewing just moments ago. I mean like kind of cave viewing points. That would be pretty neat, but I gotta figure out exactly how that works, because I feel like there's some issues here with the distribution of space. All three of these animals require the same amount of space, and that is to say 1,162 meters squared. And obviously that's not what you're seeing over here. So we'll have to figure that out. Now, again, as a reference, this inner circle over here is, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, twice the amount of space that that any one of these animals needs. So this is more than enough. But again, as we get a full pack, I would very much like to see the I'd like to see the space filled up, people running around. I want to make sure guests are able to get in as well from a few different angles. But anyways, that's me just talking about my plans. Why talk when I can show? So folks, I believe we've checked all of our boxes. I believe we can dive on in. Yeah. It's time-lapse time. Alright, folks, it is time for a time-lapse that we have been sort of building up to for the longest time. But it's finally happening. I did a bunch of research. I tried to inform myself as best as possible with regards to not just the environment in which the dingo can be found, in which it lives, but also the sort of, I guess, cultural environment in which it exists. I got some great feedback and thoughts in the comments over the previous episodes, both in the recent past and in the longer term past, giving me some good indication of what's sort of cool or not cool to do. I got some great references as to what I could look into. So I just wanted to say thanks for all that. It really does help direct me, because again, and I want to clarify, this is definitely a region that I am less familiar with. But as I've said in the past as well, I've enjoyed my growing familiarity with it. It's some really cool stuff, some really fascinating stuff, and it's something I've actually always been curious about, but have never had sort of the, I guess, opportunity to explore. So I've been very glad to have that opportunity. But I read a lot of stories. I was looking at a lot of sort of indigenous tales and stories and mythologies and whatnot, and the dingo is everywhere. I'm being hyperbolic, but it's basically everywhere. There's a lot of little like different interpretations or belief systems or myth or stories. There's a lot of moving parts, so to speak, and of course, it's such a widespread animal. There are so many different indigenous peoples. Obviously, there's going to be different ways of looking at or talking about or thinking about the animal. I found some interesting stories, though. In particular, there was one, I think it was called, I think it was titled, where I found it, it was called Warrigal and the Mundura. And I apologize for butchering pronunciations, which I'll be doing once more, at least, during this time-lapse. But yeah, I think it was Warrigal and the Mundura, but it was about this old dingo and a hunter, both hunting the same animal. I forget what the animal was. And the hunter ends up scaring the animal off, and the dingo is upset, because again, it's an old dingo, and the hunter's upset. But eventually the dingo and the hunter, they confront each other, not in a violent way, but they speak to each other about how like they're both struggling to hunt, and wouldn't it be better if they both instead hunted together, and that way they would both be, like they'd basically make this mutually beneficial relationship. They'd both be well fed. They'd work together rather than scaring each other's prey off. Now, I hope I haven't butchered that story too much. I'm just kind of like summarizing it. But this was a story that gives a good example of the collaboration and the symbiotic relationship between dingoes and the indigenous peoples. However, I also read stories that were very contradictory to that. Some I guess papers, I should say. The first thing that I said was a story, but some papers were actually saying or implying that dingoes were not used for hunting, but instead they were often helpful in keeping a space safe. They were seen as guardians. They were very good guardians. And then that also tied into another whole system of beliefs that I looked into, where they were seen as guardians not just in a sort of, physical sense, but also in a spiritual sense, because it is said, and again, I'm sure it differs between peoples, but it is said among some, and I couldn't find out who exactly, so if y'all know better, please inform me. But they're seen among some as capable of sensing evil spirits, I believe it was. And so not only are they guardians against, physical dangers, but also spiritual dangers, which is super cool, super interesting. Probably one of my favorite things to come out of this Planet Zoo Let's Play Season 1 and Season 2 is just like all the exploration and stuff. I mean, I enjoy the animals, and I enjoy the building, and I enjoy all that as well, but a surprise extra add-on has been all this opportunity to kind of expose myself to all this stuff that I just didn't know before. But yeah, I thought that was super fascinating. I really like that idea. I felt like the guard thing was something that we could try and represent to a degree without being too maybe literal. I didn't want to do what we did with the pandas and the pandas. If you watched Season 1, you'll know what I'm getting at. I didn't want to repeat that over here and build like a physical watchtower or anything like that. I wanted it to be a bit more sort of natural, intertwined with nature, if you will, integrated. Pick any one of the above words. So I wanted to, but I did want to play into that kind of like guardian aspect of it, so you will see that happen. Now, I don't want to skip out on mentioning the little rock formation that you see on the far side. Hopefully, this is okay to do. It's been suggested to me that it is, but it is a reference to, and here's that other pronunciation I promised I would be butchering, Kata Chuta. It's spelled Kata, and then a separate word, TJUTA. That's the spelling I found. There are some variants, if I recall correctly, but it is a rock formation. It is another well-known rock formation. I believe the name translates into 3 heads or something along the lines, but they are these 3 mounds that are side by side by side. And I thought it was suggested as well as like a potential homage, if you will, to Uluru. I've been told it's pronounced Ularu. Without actually, touching on the issues that I'd mentioned previously that I wanted to avoid, obviously, the concerns. So hopefully this is cool to do, because I did want to integrate something as long as it's fair and all right, so to speak. And I thought this was a pretty iconic physical, natural structure. Hopefully instantly recognizable. But again, I did have to modify it a little bit to integrate it into the actual zoo aspect of things as well. So I decided to make this into a passage that people can pass through and find the dingoes sleeping in those little caves that I've made for them. So I thought it was a neat way to kind of integrate a part of the local landscape, if you will. I mean, not local to our zoo itself, but because again, we're if I recall correctly, we're nowhere near. I'm trying to remember the map that we looked at before we started this time lapse. I'm pretty sure our zoo is one of the spaces that the dingoes don't naturally inhabit. Fairly certain. Anyway, so yeah, so that's what you're seeing here. I'm just working on Kata Chuta. Again, I apologize if I'm butchering that. Feel free to teach me. I'm always eager to learn. But again, I am applying the modifications. Just using these rocks as well, and using the rock grain texture to try and blend it as nicely as possible. Pretty pleased with how it works overall and how it looks overall. The inside, though, I'm not entirely sure what I want to do on the inside. So it's like at one point I was like, oh, you know what, I could like do like a food court kind of thing on the inside, but I don't know if that's cool, it's like, can you imagine like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an equivalent. Not exactly an equivalent because it's not natural, but can you imagine going inside the pyramids to I don't know, buy a Pizza Hut? I know there's a Pizza Hut like within visible range from the pyramids, but you're not like inside the, you know what I mean? Like, you get what I'm talking about in terms of putting like a food court inside our reference to a natural wonder of the world. Seems kind of strange, right? But here you can see we're going back to that talk of that kind of cultural connection. Again, I didn't want to build yet another, you know, village or yet another town. I didn't want to build yet another set of concentric circles because we've done that a fair bit. I was looking for a different opportunity, a different angle over here, which was maybe part of the reason why I was so, I guess, nervous or worried or concerned about going into this one, because again, it's unfamiliar terrain for me, and I wanted to get my research done and get my research done right. So again, we're touching on that whole guardian aspect of things, because that's something I saw consistently. Again, the hunter thing I saw here and there, but the guardian aspect of things I saw relatively consistently across you know, papers and websites and all sorts of stuff. So I was a bit more confident moving forward with that. And again, though, like I said, I didn't want to build a guard tower, but I thought, wouldn't it be neat if we had sort of like an elevated viewing platform, basically. Not for us, but for the dingoes. The idea being they're watching over this this pass, this entrance to the Australia section, if you will. Because again, if you think about it, this is the transitional animal going from Australia into Africa. So it plays up that angle a little bit. So I'm building a bit of like a high ground section for them. You can see me putting the bedding down over here right now. I just realized I hadn't had the bedding put down. But yeah, so I'm building this sort of like high ground observation point thing, if you will. It's always difficult to try and make these and make them not look like Pride Rock, because it's such an iconic structure with a very real, you know, shape. It's a rock. It's a type of rock formation that you can see. So I was trying to like have that outcropping, again, similar to the Timberwolves at Elite Zoo North as well. Trying to have a little outcropping with the support rock and trying to make sure it doesn't look too much like Pride Rock, obviously. But yeah, the next step is just kind of doing a little bit of work with the habitat, like enrichment items and things like that, and then some vegetation as well. You can see me putting some stuff down. Not wanting to overdo it again, because in case the animals don't like something or the other, I want to make sure I haven't gone the whole 9 yards, so to speak, only to have to go back and make adjustments and you know, regret every decision I've ever made. You can see, though, I do reduce the amount of space they have. I think I do it a bit more later as well, because it's just a ridiculous amount of space they have right now. And then also just going back in, making some minor adjustments here and there. But yeah, there are some really cool stories with regards to the dingo. Apparently, cave paintings of the dingo are very uncommon as well. And apparently they're also quite commonly featured in creation myths. I found one which I quite liked, but you know what? I cannot remember it well enough off the top of my head right now to recant it, so I will not. But some really cool stuff, some really interesting stuff out there. Hopefully I've done it justice without going the stereotypical or, you know, kitschy route. Again, it's not that I don't like a little bit of kitsch every once in a while, but I wanted to decidedly avoid that with today's time-lapse and with this building. Hope you all like the space. Again, of course, we will be completing it in the next session as we continue to beautify and finesse and finalize the spaces, but the groundwork is here, the foundation is here. But for now, back to regular speed. Alright, folks, we are back from the time-lapse, and this is going to be a very interesting section of the zoo to work with and through, because if I'm not mistaken, I mean, okay, the dingoes for sure, desert and grassland. If we take a look at the western, what's the term I'm looking for? West Africa? Nope. Wild dog. The African wild dog. Every time I want to say the African wild dog, I think it's the Western African or the West African wild dog. Every time. Anyway, these guys are also desert and grassland in the reverse order for some reason. And we've got the hyenas, which are, if I'm not mistaken, also just grassland. So yes, my hypothesis was correct. All of these animals prefer grassland / desert biomes, which means we're going to have a lot of sort of flat-ish terrain, I suppose. A lot of the same colors in terms of like the sandy, you know, like it's all earthy colors, but you know what I mean. Kind of like it's all gonna be. There's going to be very little vegetation, is what I'm getting at. And vegetation is a great way to fill up spaces and to break up spaces. We've used it countless times in the past. It really helps. That's why, you know, a lot of these parts in the South America region were relatively speaking, easy to diversify was because an entire, you know, section of options were a lot more readily available. Whereas with some of these animals, I imagine we're going to have a bit more, you know, rather a bit less wiggle room as far as like vegetation coverage and stuff like that is concerned. But that aside, I'm quite pleased with how this time lapse went. Of course, it is not complete. I have a fair bit more work to do, but I did realize that I kind of want to see how the animals are engaging with the space before I went too far ahead. As you could see right at the end of that time lapse as well, I kind of like changed the shape of the space over here. I felt like the dingoes had way too much room to just move around and kind of camp out elsewhere. So I wanted to minimize their space a little bit, and what I might do is up over here, create a bit of a stop, like a I don't know if I'll do like a part Australian themed, part African themed stop for like food and washrooms and things like that before you continue on with the wild dogs and then eventually the hyenas. But yeah, it's a lot of space. It's a lot of space. Anyway, let's go ahead and get the animals in here, see if they like the space. We'll also, by the way, I just want to touch on this because I just want to cover it. Pun entirely intended. I will be building some like covers and canopies and stuff over here as well. I've got some interesting ideas. I have a lot of plans. I was hoping to execute them today, but you know, time is time after all. It stops for no one, and so we'll probably tackle that next session as we try to complete the entire enclosure. But before we get to all that, let's go ahead and take a look at the animal market over here. See if we can't get any dingoes. We want one male, one female for starters. See how they, you know, interact with the space. I imagine, now hang on, let me check something over here with the dingo. Go on then. There we go. If I take a look at your Zoopedia, I was looking for the icon. I was like, where's the icon? The word is right there. I was completely blind to it. Yeah, okay, so it's 2 to 12. So I should be able to get a bunch of them, but only 2 will mate. I'm tempted to get a bunch of them if there are good ones available, because then at least we'll have a lot more utilization of the space and guests won't be upset. That's what I'm kind of thinking here. So let's start with one male, one female, and then we'll get a few more probably by the end of today's session. I did not realize how cheap dingoes could get. Wow, even the most expensive ones are relatively cheap. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Ooh, that's not so good. Sophia over here for 255. Those look like pretty good stats. Go ahead and pick you up. Got to make sure they're not from the same zoo. We'll move you over to... I really got to get another quarantine or something, don't I? On quarantine, maybe not so much, but I might need another... what's it called? Like keeper hut and stuff like that. The reason being, the closest keeper hut is down over here. Keeper hut and staff room down over here. Now, it's not too far away. You just kind of got to go... It's not all that far away, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's problematic. And if we do need to add a couple of like keeper huts or staff rooms or something, I mean, eventually we'll need to add it for these spaces up over here. I might find a way to integrate it up over here, maybe. I don't know. Well, what I'm thinking is this region kind of becomes similar to this region in terms of its utility as well as its you know, guest. Well, it's utility both guest facing and staff facing. But for now, we'll experiment with what we have. All right, so we've got our female dingo en route. Let's go ahead over to animal trading again and pick ourselves up a male dingo. Oscar, are you Oscar worthy? Yeah, you're okay. You're fine. Ryan, ooh. Ryan's got some good. You know what? I gotta take Ryan because it's. Nah, God. I was still in the middle of that that Oscar joke in my head, and we got Ryan, and I was like, Ryan Gosling, more like Ryan Ding Gosling, and now I've made a commitment, and Ryan is now in our zoo, and I can't help myself. Do I have a problem? Quite possibly. Am I okay with it? 100%. All right, so we've got Ryan, and we've got Sophia. Oh no. Her name is Sophia Coppola, right? More like Sophia Dingopola. No, that does not work as well, but I'll take it nonetheless. All right, let's go ahead and hit play. Let the animals go through their sort of, you know, onboarding process, if you will. And while we're waiting for that to happen, I'm going to go ahead and get some donation bins and stuff down. We'll get the education boards and stuff up afterwards, primarily because I'm concerned Sorry, not concerned, but I like how I like being able to assign the boards right away. Do I need you right up over here? Oh, probably. God, I do quite loathe the littering. It does really bother me. Just the level of it, I can't stand it. Going up over here, you'll notice as well with the ramp over here. Oh, nope, 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 nope. Ooh, close. I might actually want to check zoo animals, check our lions. It has been a while. Don't want this to become like a. I don't want to get distracted, but oh, we might need to do a little bit of swapping around over here. Oh no, Ananke is infertile? Why? Too bad. Starting to get older over here. Tuanya, we might need to, yeah, we'll need to figure this out soon. Real soon, actually. Buddy, let's check your options here. Abeo, Ramono, Adesina. Dang, these are really good stats to just kind of leave, you know? I can hope that one of the elderly lionesses is still able to get some babies, but well, we need to take a look at that probably next session. If not this session, probably next session. Anyway, back to business over here. Let's go ahead and get some donation bins as well. I really hope the dingoes do well. I mean, I know I'm going to be spending a lot of time with them. I hope the guests spend some good time with them as well. And go ahead and get the color scheme kind of like that sandy, earthy, you know, brown. Try and match their oat, I guess. Right here, a little too orange, I think. Seems a bit better. Start with you, a lighter kind of off tone. I wish there were different patterns. I wish you could like have different patterns. Like all you need is none, stripes, spots. And that kind of covers the bases. Oh, come on. Seriously, let's go ahead and move you over here. I hate that they can get up there, but they can't get out. Not only that, though, I actually want to do one more thing. It was pointed out to me in the comments as a suggestion for a possible fix for our Caputin here. I just want to do that really quickly before I forget, because I'm almost guaranteed to, because it's such a like an out-of-the-box kind of potential solution. Go ahead and animals, select all, move. Well, this is interesting. I'll just move them all to somewhere. The idea was that maybe I don't need to send them all back to the trade center and then back out. I might just, you know, be able to move them so they get boxed up and shifted, and that would do the trick. Can I not? Do I have to do them one by one? I don't want to do them one by one. Okay, maybe. And if that's the case, then then I guess I may as well take them into the trade center because it'd be faster. We'll tackle that later. Back up over here, do we have our... Yep, we do. Sophia and Ryan. I'm never gonna get over their names. Let's go ahead and move them over to our habitat number 35. Again, folks, I will need name suggestions. So if you have any name ideas for our beautiful dingo enclosure, well, our soon-to-be beautiful dingo enclosure, I'm happy with where it is, but I think it's a little premature to call it beautiful right now. But I'm very excited for how it's going to end up, and again, I'm very excited to see how guests actually interact with the space and if they go through the you know, the viewing opportunities properly or not. Also, what I was saying earlier before I got distracted was you'll notice I do have the ramp over here, but I've also built in flat spaces for both rest, like in our head cannon, but also because that way we can actually put some stuff down over here. And then this again will become the African wild dog viewing platform as well. I'm pretty pleased with the overall like layout of this section. I'm excited to see it all come together, but we will have to contend with the fact that both here and here we're going to see a lot of like kind of plains-ish area. The other thing I have to keep an eye out for is I'm hoping that the dingoes can come out over here and drink water, but that they're not going to just like kind of swim and go wherever they please. I'm worried that that will be the case, in which case I'm going to have to like kind of make a faux dam kind of a thing, because they're not divers, so they need to stay afloat to traverse water. So I'll just have to build like a couple of like rocks and stuff and make it all splashy to make it look like they're, you know, they're not able to get out of this area. We'll make it work. We'll make it work. All right, let's see. Let's go ahead and take a look at the... Good doggo. Oh, look at that. Oh, come on. Immediately. How... Like, just instantly I fall in love with these guys. That's so cute. They're so, like, sleek looking. Actually, they're also very slick looking. Looking very, like, wet, that fur, isn't it? Alright, let's take a look, though, before you're able to, like, run away or something silly like that. Let's go ahead and make sure that you are fine here. No, as I predicted. Ooh, we have some trouble over here as well. Ah, I see. They can be quite the jumper. And it looks like this is working nicely. I was worried they wouldn't be able to get down here, but they are able to get down here, which is... hopefully an acceptable integration of this space. I think it's quite nice. It's a throwback to Elite Zoo North as well. We've got our underground viewing of their like kind of sleeping spaces over there, and another one over here as well. I don't know if they'll spread out or if they'll go to the same spot, but I thought we'd give it a shot. But yes, let's go ahead and adjust this. I had a feeling there'd be some trouble over here. Not the end of the world. Let's go ahead and, for now, just make a quick fix over here, because we will be reworking this space. Not completely, but we will be making some big changes to it to make it a bit more epic. I've got some plans, but I'm not sure if the pieces are there, as is always the case. But I've also got I've got some plans. I'm excited to try it all out. I feel like we might need to dig this down a bit further. This is very... I mean, I could probably jump this. There we go. There we go. Again, losing that sense of scale so easily because of how big this space is. So that's that, but down over here we need to get some rocks and stuff as well. I'm thinking what we'll do is we'll go ahead and get some of these especially. And all I really want to do is like kind of split up the river over here and give it like the rapids feel as the water's coming down from that waterfall, right? Like it continues to flow down. A little bit of splashing here and there, nothing too drastic or wild. But we do also have to find a way to integrate it into this little space over here. So what I'll probably do today is do a kind of quick and dirty job of it, and then next session when we come in to finish the space off, I will refine it and make it blend into the space a bit more. But I definitely want to try and get at least something down over here, just so we are not seeing constant escapes. Don't want a repeat of the peacocks. That was a fun time. That's still one of the funniest episodes in my opinion. Just like the constant getaway peacocks. There we go. And just a little bit of... What I might do is... Oh yeah, you know, actually that works quite nicely. I was literally going to say I might like create a little like piece over here and make it look like the water is... not... I'm trying to explain exactly how to describe it. Like the water flows past and then fills in this little like section kind of a thing. I don't know if that makes sense, but hopefully once it's done visually it'll make sense. I wonder if they'll be able to climb onto this. Probably not, I'm hoping, but we'll find out. And again, finessing I'm leaving until next time, because I want to make sure also that this even works, right? And if we're outside the time lapse right now, then I'd rather get the effects kind of done as well, like put them in to see again if they look right, if they work. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and add one of, not this one, this one, there we go. Nice and kind of clunky looking. Oh, you know what? I completely forgot to check on the RTX stuff. I was going to check out if this game supports RTX or not because of the reflections as we saw them last time. But completely slipped my mind. Going to do that, and then I'm going to leave like the narrowest of gaps here through which the water will be like rushing through. But hopefully the animals will not be able to make their way through. We'll see if that works. So let's unpause real quick over here. Let the habitat recalculate. What do we got? Still able to get out, eh? Zoom out for me. Come on now. Still able to... Are you still able to get out, or is the barrier not like going out far enough? Oh, you can see the Great Escape happening right now. No, this definitely goes out far enough. I'm guessing the rocks are not enough. These guys deep dive? I wouldn't expect them to. Back here real quick. Oh, look at the pair of them running. I'm glad I have to be busy with work. Can't just admire the animals. Alright, hold on a second. Can we, what if this gains a little bit more height? Is that what we're missing here? Is that the, where'd y'all go? You tucked in here? Nope. Where are you? Oh, there you are. Little cuties. Oh, no, gotta stop this. I think, you know what? I think next session, we'll have to take a look at some of these, like, issues. Because it's starting to, we've waited long enough now that it's come to a point where it's looking like it's kind of across the board. The inbreeding, the children that weren't put on contraceptives, etc., etc. Oh, yeah, look at that. I do wonder if I want to, like, adjust this a little bit. Just a touch. There we go. I think that looks a little bit better. Look at that. So pleased. Ever the guardian. I love it. I love it. Alright, but hold on. Now, the funny thing is they're actually not making a beeline to the escapes. There we go. So it was just a height thing. Okay, fair enough. Animal died. Who did? Me. Oh no. We lost 2 lionesses. Same time. Adesina and Namono. Well, that's sad. You've served us well, Adesina and Namono. That's sad. So who is left for our alpha here? Adesina and Namono are gone. Abeo, low immunity, on contraceptives, but why? Adesina is gone. Sada, inbreeding. Kane, inbreeding. Man, it's just such a, Oh, you know what, maybe that's why Abeo was infertile. Because we had her on contraceptives. It should have said on contraceptives, not, oh no, she's actually separately, it looks like infertile. Hang on a second now. Oh, she's elderly as well. Wow, you know what? I might get a different female for Atuanya. I know the right decision is to swap out Atuanya, but his stats are so great, and he barely had any progeny, you know? It just feels like a bit of a bummer to not have any kids from those genes. I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna get a West African lion for him. I know maybe it's the wrong choice, but it feels like the right choice. Where are we? West African lion. You guys are not supposed to be the stars of the show today. Go ahead, lower price, and we'll have some good options, hopefully. And then if we have any males from this pair, they should be able to mate with the females we have right now. We're getting to the 1,000 mark here. And some at like 900, 800 that had decent genes. You know what, might go back to them. Come on. One more step. I really wish these clicks worked smoother. There you go. Full saw. I can't do the, well, there's no exclamation mark, I suppose. But isn't that the, one of the languages? Correct me if I'm wrong, please, but I'm fairly certain. But I'm pretty sure, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, that there is there's an exclamation mark at the start of it. I can't visualize it right now. It's either at the start of it or at the end of it, which is, if I recall correctly, like a click. But again, do please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm fairly confident, because I used to know a fair bit about it, but I'm in the middle of a session thinking about dingoes, making dingo puns. I could very easily misspeak, and I don't want to be wrong about that, so please correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, where do these dingoes go? There you are. They look at the different coats as well. I'm so glad they added that, by the way. Look at that. Oh man, they're so cute. I cannot wait until they're pups. I cannot wait. Now, hold on. Let me just check real quick. They are unable to escape from anywhere. Is that correct? That is correct. We'll have to check when the puppies do come. Ooh, they're actually able to climb quite high over here, which I actually don't mind. You know what? That kind of works with the overall theme and approach over here, so fair enough. We've got a couple donation bins down over here. We got one down over there. We got up over here. All right, good stuff. Let's go ahead and get the education boards. What I don't like is that no one's checking them out yet. How can you resist the allure of the dingo? Multiple animals have low welfare. We'll check it out. It's got to be one of the Gotta be one of the enclosures, like the exhibits. Dingo over here. We have a gap in power, don't we? Yeah, we do. I remove that wind turbine. I could get a solar panel down over here instead. More inbreeding over here. Yeah, we urgently have to take care of this. Now, the problem is we're going to actually have to send you to the trade center, so you undo your bonding. And fix it. Don't sleep with family. Not like that. Alright, let's go ahead and get power down over here. Facilities. Nice solar panel, I think will do the trick. Play up the desert aspect of it. See if we can't fit you right over here. I don't know why I did the wind turbines. I know they're symmetrical. Why didn't I just do another solar panel? Not sure. Price, maybe, at the time? No, we weren't hard on cash back then. Nonetheless, we're here to fix this problem right now. Go ahead and drop you down right here. Sure. There we go. And on this side as well, potentially. Flip you around. Right over here. There we go. Go ahead and get rid of you. Get rid of you. There we go. Thank you very much. That should do the trick. Cool. We also need to make sure, though, that we have our staff work zones set properly. This is Australia. Gonna have to soon split this up into little pieces. Come on. There we go. Done, done, done. Include you as well. Alright, good stuff. We also need to make sure that our staff is researching the dingo. So, Michelle Weedman, let's get you on there. Oh, and actually, it was pointed out that research might also improve fertility. So, Rita Aitama, let's go ahead and get you researching the Colombian white-faced capuchin. Maybe that'll make a difference. We'll see. Alright, cool. So, this is all working. Let's go ahead and get some more of these education boards up, though. And some speakers as well shortly. Pop you up over here. And I might rework the fence as well, by the way. It's a potentially temporary solution for now. I don't hate how it looks in this environment, but I'll probably swap it around. Again, I want to make it feel like a protected space, a guarded space, if you will. Lots of things that I want to try and execute. Lots of different ways to try and execute it. All right, it's interesting to see the guests coming up over here to check these guys out, not, you know, where I would expect them to, further down. And we fit this up over here. We cannot. That's fantastic. All right, cool. Cool, cool, cool. Not a problem, not a problem. What about if we move you out? Can I get the path to extend out this way? Please and thank you. This one. Make it a square? Yeah. I quite prefer that. And then we can get the solar panel. Oh, I'm so glad I got those bins down. Up over here. I don't want it to have that curve. Alright, go back to the path. Align to grid. Pop you up this way. And then facilities. Solar panel. Come on now. Here I wouldn't mind the curve. To match the path. There we go. Power this area up. Excellent. Go ahead and move this right up against there. Donations coming through already. That's great. Let's go ahead and get some speakers. Nice to see the guests coming through over here. I was a little concerned, I'm not going to lie, but they are coming up over here, so that's good. Should be able to catch them drinking over here as well. So that's good. Dingo, please. Decent coverage. I'm going to go ahead and put another one down. Well, let's go ahead and do these ones first. Down over here. Now I know they don't have to be attached to the TVs, but it feels nice. I do it more often than not. I don't always do it, but I do definitely do it more often than not, just because it feels natural, I guess you'd say. Go ahead and duplicate you, pop you down over here, and this one will have a much smaller radius, of course. Nudge you over just a little bit. Okay, slightly smaller radius. There we go, for sure. You have to like ride up against it, don't you? Now up over here, let's go ahead and duplicate both of you over. About here. Forward. Are you overlapping down here? You're not? Okay, good, 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 good. Good stuff. Just, yeah, on your way up. Learn a bit more about the animal. Put a donation bin down here as well. And maybe even build like a cover or something for it. Maybe. Where's that donation bin? Dangerous animal has escaped. We'll take a look in just a second. How dangerous could it be? Probably the gorillas. Nope, it's the dingo. How did you get it? I had a feeling. I was a little confused as to like why I was saying the animal could get up here but then not get past. Well, turns out it was lying to me. Fair enough, you little trickster. We got this. There we go. No, I don't think that'll make it any harder for them to sneak out there. Go ahead and pull this up, maybe. We'll have to just keep an eye on it. Make sure they're not able to get out over here. Should be steep enough. Your quarantine has passed. Can we please move you up here to Simba Kiburi? Good stuff. And then back down over here, we have a low welfare dingo right now. Ryan, what's wrong? What's wrong, buddy? How did you... Where are you, even? Oh, you've just been captured. See, what's happened is he managed to get out over there, and then couldn't get back out. Like a cat stuck in a tree. Except a dog stuck on a rock, I guess. You're not supposed to dingo over there. Don't do it. I see you eyeing it. Don't do it. Are you pooping? You're pooping, aren't you? Oh, yeah. There we go. There we go. That's how you know it's an episode of Planet Zoo with Party Elite. Alright, cool. I mean, I'm pretty happy with the space. They seem to be enjoying the space as well. Guests are checking the animals out. We got a couple donations up over here. Not a lot, but it's something. I mean, once this loop has been built completely, this will be a lot more of a fruitful journey for our guests, but it's nice to see that they're already, you know, using this path. I was really not expecting that. Didn't we have a bunch of unhappy animals just moments ago? Did they all die? No. A bit over here. I was worried it was like here, but we'll check it out. We'll check it out. What's up over here? Oh, huh. What are the chances? Fair enough. Not the end of the world. We're going to go ahead and get a wind turbine specifically for you guys. How about that? How about that? Turbine. Pop you down right here. There you go. Cool. Let's just make sure that our work zones are properly established over here. Staff, work zones, Australia. That and that. Beautiful. I hope. Alright. Okay. Honestly, very pleased that people are actually going up there. Kind of disappointed they're not going down here, though. I was expecting this to be the obvious path. What I'll need to do, though, is I'll need to find a way to convince folks to use this path. It's definitely a hard sell. But maybe as more people use the trains, maybe as they hop off over here, if they decide they want to go check out the dingoes and the wild dogs, they'll go up this way as opposed to this way. I don't know. I don't know. We'll find out, though. We'll find out. Quite pleased with the space. Quite pleased to see them running around. They seem to be using the entirety of the space. They seem to be taking advantage of the space. I should get a regular feeding platform down as well, actually. I just realized I have enrichment feeding for them, but not a regular feeding platform. Let's go ahead and do that for the dingo. That is facilities. That's not what I meant. I meant habitat, please, and thank you, dingo. Where are we? Large food tray. Out over here. I mean, this would explain why guests are maybe coming over here more than out over there. But what if we put the food tray down? Over here, maybe? Kind of messy, but we can smooth that terrain out. There we go. Don't really know the value in that. I mean, unless guests are coming up over there, which will be an eventuality, but you know, for now, maybe up over here makes the most sense since guests are coming up over here. Since guests seem enamored with this spot, why not make it a little bit better? Cool. That should certainly help. I think we've got all the needs covered. Animals are looking pretty happy as well. You know, I should actually check. Oh, it's been so long since we've added an animal. Yep, all of their terrain needs are covered. They're covered. Oh, would you look at that? They're actually okay with much denser coverage than I thought. Well, that's fantastic, because then I will... yeah, you know, then I think we'll maybe add a few more of these trees. Well, quite a few more of these trees, you know, liven up this area. Because it's not just about having the option to add trees. It's also, I want to make sure that the trees that I add are, you know, the right trees, the right bushes, the right plants, and all that kind of stuff. I want to make sure it's all, you know, thematically, aesthetically, all aligned. Bonding status, they're almost done. I did not see a bonding status, by the way, for the Capuchin. That was mentioned as well in the comments of the last session. It was like, oh, do they have any updates to their bonding statuses? And I don't recall seeing that when I last looked. So maybe it's because they don't they're not the types to bond. Yeah, you can see there's no bonding status or anything. These guys, what's going on over here? Titan Town's got some trouble, and Adama has an injury. Wouldn't call the vet. But Titan Town, you guys are having trouble here, I see. I don't even know which ones are worth keeping. Yeah, this is always... It's definitely a challenge to... Oh, those hats scared the crap out of me. It's definitely a challenge to nail this whole thing and keep this as fun as engaging, I should say. Not as fun, but as engaging as other aspects of the game. Because always, at one point, it ends up becoming more of a chore. Right? It's like, oh, time to do this again. You're actually about to have offspring? Or are you lying to me? Offspring imminent. Warning signs going off. Oh. Baby time. Baby time. Come on now. Come on. It's an albino. I think. Look at that. Well, hello. Hello, buddy. Diemba. Look at those stats. Oh, my lord. Good stats. These are good stats. And leucistic, sorry. Leucistic? I always forget. Leucistic sounds wrong because, you know, cystic is something else entirely. So leucistic is what comes to mind for me. What a cutie, though. Oh, what a cutie. Don't run away from me while I'm calling you cute. Oh. You can do whatever you want. They're so fun to watch. Fascinating animal. Alright. I think it's safe to say the dingo's space is doing well. I think it's also safe to say that we need to... Okay, good to see some offspring en route. But we need to do a little bit of management work. But I think all that management work is going to have to wait until next time, folks. Because this is actually... We're going to call it a session. I'm very excited to see our dingoes bond. And I'm very excited to see their pups come through. Hopefully we'll see at least one litter next time. But yeah, this is it for this session. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, you all know what to do. Let me know by leaving a like and a comment down below. As always, it makes a massive difference in how I approach content on the channel. It really does impact what I do, how I go about doing it, when I do it. Again, you know, for a long time, y'all have been saying you want to see the dingoes come through. It's been top of mind for me, and for a while, I've been like, okay, the next animal we add is going to be the dingo. You know, just like that. I read all the comments, and I do let it influence my decisions. So don't ever hesitate to, you know, let me know your thoughts. Hopefully you enjoyed the session today, and again, if you did, leave that like. It is very helpful as well in letting me kind of ascertain interest levels and things like that across the board. As always, a massive thanks goes out to all of the channel members and patrons who've been supporting the channel on a monthly basis. Y'all keep us alive and running smoothly. Many of you have requested to be dingo sponsors or staff related to the dingoes. We'll be adding that shortly as well. Probably at the start of the next month, maybe sooner than that, we'll see. But also, a big old thanks goes out to each and every one of you for watching. Until next time, cheers.